Let's cartoon it up. G'day and welcome to Cartoon It Up with me, Jazza. Let's hit our inspiration button and find out what cartoon we'll be drawing today. I can feel the excitement build as we find out we'll be drawing a strong fairy. Very interesting. Fairies, of course, usually being quite gentle and dainty, but the strong bit's going to be interesting because we've got to add some impact and power. Let's see how we can make this work. So kicking right off with our construction phase, we start off with a circle for the head, adding a little bit of a jaw, a centre line and an eye line. Now, as we go into the body, I want to start thinking about that strong aspect that we're bringing into the character by giving some broader shoulders and tapering it in to the waist. I'm going to give our fairy a really nice, large, pretty dress, and then I'm just going to really simply block in where her other features are going to go. Starting off with the legs, and then moving on to the arms. I'm keeping the construction for these limbs pretty chunky to make room for the definition that we might add later, but still quite simple. Drawn a bit like cylinders or boxes connected to each other. So I'm just adding some simple construction shapes in her left hand, which is going to become a weight that she uses to lift and work out, also known as a dumbbell, though she might call it a tinker dumbbell. What's a fairy without her wand? So I'm going to add a little stick here with a star at the end of it, and of course, what's a fairy without her wings? I'm going to add sort of butterfly wing shapes behind her, like this. I'm really happy with the construction of our strong fairy, and now I'm ready to move on to the next stage, adding the characteristics. So I'm going to start off by giving her some little pixie ears with a bit of a point at the end, draw some light circles, and then define where the eyes are going to be. And I'm actually going to close off the bottom half of the eye, which happens sometimes when an expression is so intense, it sort of lifts the bottom of the face, because we're going to give her a really big smile. I'll give her a really small, petite nose, some thin eyebrows in a really lifted, excited expression. I'm going to draw the edge of her hairline and pull the hair back towards a bun at the back of the head and add a few little curls behind to add a little touch of elegance to our strong fairy. In today's feature focus, we're going to break down the shapes that make the muscles in the arm and figure out how we can add some strength and power to our fairy. So I have here pre-drawn an arm in that flexing pose that people do when they're showing off their muscles. And today we're going to break it down into some basic shapes. To start off with, the shoulder is one of the most prominent muscles that really stands out when someone is really strong. That brings us to our next shape, this circle here, which is that really recognizable flexing bicep shape. Now these are, I suppose, what you could call the leading characters of the arm muscles, but there are a couple of unsung heroes in the muscle groups, and one of them is on the opposite side of the bicep. It's called the tricep. It's about half as long. And then the last is the forearm. We have this muscle that runs from sort of the top in between the bicep and tricep all the way up to just under the thumb. So there you go. These are the shapes that make up the main muscles of the arm that we can over-exaggerate to make a character look really, really strong. So I'm excited to jump back to our fairy and see it in action. So I'm going to make the shoulder even bigger and then really pop out that big flexing bicep muscle, and then adding some mass and thickness to that forearm muscle. And now with the left and right arms, both with those muscles really exaggerated, we have one seriously strong fairy here. I'm going to finish off the piece by adding our final characteristics. Let's give her a tank top. I'm just going to add some more detail to her skirt with some wavy lines at the end to make it look nice and ruffly, and then add the final details to the hands. And now with all the characteristics in place, I'm happy with my strong fairy. It's time for a bit of a magic final touch with a bit of a tidy up. I am really happy with how my cartoon has turned out, and not only does she look strong, she looks very strong. Let's go say hello.
Hello, Jazza.
Wow, you are the strongest fairy I've ever seen.
Yeah, I know. I work out a lot. Weights are my thing. I'm known as
The Machine!
to all my gym buddies. I can even lift you if you wanted.
That's okay, I believe you.
Fair enough.
So what are you training for?
Well, it's hard work being a fairy, and that fairy dust is a lot heavier than it looks. Speaking of which, here you go.
I don't feel any different. I don't think it works on me. I must be immune. It was nice to meet you.
Bye.